Okay, so I kinda ran to make this tutorial because it was just so easy to make and I figured it out like really quickly. So just for like a bit of context, I saw this picture on Pinterest and I was like, oh my god, I should make this. And I tried to look for like a tutorial on YouTube, on Instagram, on possibly anywhere, and I did find some iterations of it, but it wasn't the same. Like I didn't want any gaps among anything. So then I thought, well, I could just make it myself. And as a crocheter who rarely makes her own patterns, because I'm a seller, so I make stuff for my audience, so it's usually pretty repetitive things. It was a huge step, and drum roll. Oh my god, I think I nailed it. It is a bit spacious, but I was crocheting at light speed because I just wanted to see how it would turn out. The colors are a bit different now that I see it in the footage, but this is what it is. And I didn't even do up the back because I was just so excited to show you guys what the final result could look like and post a tutorial that, yeah, this we can deal with this later, but the crocheting part is the simpler one. I'm actually on the floor as well, so it's probably not the best place, but it has good lighting, so it'll probably be easier to teach you guys. I'm using a very faded, can't be, oh yeah, 3 millimeter hook. So you can use any hook that you want just based on the size, and you have to use kind of like the yarn that's compatible with it. I usually compare like the barrel size with the yarn, and they're pretty darn similar. We're gonna start off pretty simple. We're gonna make a magic ring. Now I know it's a bit of a sore spot for people, but you have to make a magic ring for this because that's the magical part. So let me teach you. This is how it's gonna go. You take your thumb and pinch the yarn over at your ring finger, while you use your first two fingers and kind of just loop it around like this, and then you can use that ring finger to kind of pinch it. And what's this gonna do is give you two loops. There's like a cross over here, but this cross can also show up here, so I'm actually going really quick right now. So you go under the first loop and you go over and just bring that first loop kind of under the first like loop or first whatever this is, and then you chain one, and that's a magic ring. That's a magic circle, a ring, or a magic knot, whatever. So this is technically your first chain, but it's kind of tight, so I'm just gonna do two more. This little thing, it's not gonna count as part of your stitches, so if you want to count it, then that's fine. I just don't count this as part of my stitches because honestly I really don't want to. But now you're gonna make 12 double crochets into this little magic ring. So it's pretty simple. You yarn over, go into the loop, and make sure you have both threads over here. Go into the loop, pull up a loop kind of like this, and then yarn over. You pull through two loops, and then yarn over and you pull through two loops. So this is the chain that we made. This, excluding this is our first double crochet. So if you want, you can put like a stitch marker in this little loop right here. You can use a safety pin or anything. You don't need those fancy stitch markers, but I'm just gonna run through this and I'm gonna help you figure it out without a stitch marker. So it's pretty beginner friendly, but also this video is useful for if you want tips on how to make your own patterns in the future. So that's one double crochet, and we're gonna make 11 more. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two loops, and yarn over, pull through two loops. I made a few, let's count them. You see these V's over each stitch, like this V sequence? This counts as one stitch, so one V is one stitch, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. And 10 because we are not counting this, so that's 10 stitches. And we're gonna do two more. That'll conclude our first row of this coaster, so that's it. So this is our first row. Now you might have noticed that there's quite a lot of circle to go over. So what we're gonna do is to take this excess end of the yarn and just kind of pull this loop closed, and that's why it's called the magic circle, because voila, you got a circle. And I'm gonna go into this first stitch, not this chain 3 stitch, this first stitch, and slip stitch this. So slip stitch is basically pulling a loop through the stitch and then pulling that same loop through your pre-existing loop on the hook. So for the second row, I'm going to chain 3 first of all. And now do you notice the stitch that we just slipped in? It's this little stitch that's kind of being squeezed, like this stitch. We can kind of tell because the chains are actually kind of exposing themselves from this place. So this is the stitch. And what we're going to do is to go back into that same stitch. You have to yarn over first. Go back into that same stitch, pull up a loop, and do your casual double crochet. Now, like I said, these chain 3 spaces do not count for me. It's just like a filler thingy so that I get the height that I need for a double crochet. So you can go ahead and count this, but if you're not counting it like me, you go back into that same stitch and do 2 double crochets. So there's 2 double crochets in this stitch. We're not counting this one, so 2 double crochets. And throughout this whole loop, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So each stitch, and I mean each of the 12 stitches, we're going to do 2 double crochets each. Also, my yarn source for this is this little thingy. It's a glove, if you can't tell, that I'm frogging. So if you want to frog projects, it's better to use it in another project than to let it tangle. So just saying. Okay, so with this final stitch, we have accomplished 24 stitches. So if you began in your magic ring with 12 stitches, now you can see that we have 24 stitches because we just did double a stitch in every one. So now you're going to locate that first double crochet that you did, not this 3 chain, this double crochet stitch, and you're going to insert into this V stitch right here, and you're going to pull up a loop and pull that same loop through. So that's a slip stitch. I think we've established that. Now we're going to chain 3 again because that's how we're going to start our rows. So whenever I start my rows for double crochets, it's always chain 3, but if it's like a straight project, it's probably chain 2. So depends on however loose or tight your tension is. Mine is pretty loose, so I have to go pretty tall. So I forgot what to do for this row. For this row, we're gonna do a sequence, which is a double crochet and an increase. So a double crochet and an increase stitch, a double crochet and an increase stitch. I'm gonna use my next stitch as an example, and I'm gonna put in 2 stitches like this. So that's one little thingy, and we're gonna repeat that 11 more times until we have, well, 24 plus 12 is 36, so we're gonna have 36 stitches at the end of this. So this is your third row, and like we did, and like we always do, we're gonna slip stitch into our first little double crochet here. So for this stitch, let's begin by 3 chains for this row, because now we take our little red yarn and we start putting in the strawberries. So what we're gonna do is to follow this sequence. We're gonna take our, first of all, put your first double crochet into that same stitch, make another double crochet, and make another double crochet. So once you've pulled, I think I can begin this again. Once you've done 2 stitches, you go into your third one, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and this is where you kind of just stop. And let me tell you why. Because now you can take your red yarn, and it really helps to make like a slip knot of it first. So a slip knot is pretty simple, like this. Now you can probably tell that we're just one single loop away from completing this double crochet, but instead of completing it in the white, it's a really nice trick to complete the stitch with the color that you're using next. In this way, as you can tell, we just looped through here, but we did 3 double crochets and the back colors of these 3 double crochets are the same, so it's not affected. What we're going to do is to go into this next stitch and we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to go back into that same stitch and we're going to do another double crochet. You might want to go back and forth a bit, but we're doing 6 double crochets in this one double crochets with the red color. So this is my 4th double crochet. This is my 5th one. Also, if you want to know where to put your hook, I highly recommend like putting your thumb there, and it helps with grip. I know that, but it also is like a great indicator. So if you're someone who just wants to crochet to relax, it's nice to put your thumb there. So there's not much mind into it. So I'm about to make my last double crochet, and just like before we started, we need to change our color. So after we need the lap, now that we need our last loop, I'm going to change my color again, which is conveniently at the back right here, and I'm going to insert this. Now you might find these stitches a bit loose. You can just pull on this string to get it tight again. But now we're going to do 3 more double crochets. Now this part for beginners is a bit tricky because after doing such a bulk of double crochets, a stitch is going to hide, or 1 or 2 stitches is going to hide from it. So many people, what they'll do is to go into this obvious looking stitch and do their double crochets. That's not where you want to put your hook in. You want to put your hook, just kind of push these stitches back, and you're going to see that there's an unused stitch. So this is the stitch we put it in, right? This is a really like unused stitch where you're going to want to put your first double crochet. So double crochet and put it in. So that's our first one, and that's our second one, and that's almost, and that's our third one. And you notice that I just stopped short of completing it because now we can take our red yarn again and loop it in. And now that they do look a bit loose, just pull it to tighten it. But this is our last strawberry, and before slip stitching into this first stitch, you're gonna change your color one last time because this is the color that we're gonna work in for some part of this row. So this and slip. So to start this part of the row, our 5th row, we're gonna start with 3 chains. And for every single white part and every stitch in the white part, we're going to do 2 double crochets. So an increased stitch in every white part. Like in every white stitch. So ignoring the chain, I did 2 double crochets. I go and do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And then I casually go and do a double crochet, and just before completing this 9th one, you're going to take your second strawberry color, or the stem color, which is this beautiful green in my case, and I'm also frogging a piece to fund this one. So make a slip knot just the way we did. Also, I would recommend to put down your working project because you will drop it. I used to drop it, but now I'm a pro. I don't drop it anymore. Now, we have pulled our green loop through. I've tightened it somehow. Now what we're going to do is to go into, do not yarn over like we do in single crochet, like double crochets. You're going to go into your loop and pull up a loop. Go into that second strawberry stitch, pull up a loop. The third one, pull up a loop. The 4th one, pull up a loop. The 5th one, pull up a loop. And the 6th one, you pull up a loop. So all together, excluding this first stitch because this does not count, we've pulled 6 loops out of our stitches, as you can tell. And what we're going to do is to yarn over, so now that there are 8 stitches or 8 pieces of yarn, and just slowly pull through. Now if you're a beginner, this step will feel a bit awkward, uneasy, but you just trust me on this. So this is how it's going to look. and now you chain 1, and this just kind of contracts it, it binds it, so this little blob becomes a strawberry. This is how it looks. Now we're gonna let go of this yarn after, you know, contracting it by pulling it through, or chaining to be more precise. We pull up a loop, we pull the white yarn through this chain, and now we do our second set of increases in between this space. So 1, 2. So right here I have just completed my last strawberry, and I'm about to make a chain to kind of bind it all. Now what we're gonna do is to just do our usual antic. We just looped our white yarn through the chain, and now we slip stitch into this first stitch. Okay, so now this lies flat, which is nice. So now for the last row that we're gonna do, we're gonna make these little border thingy. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a really nice border just to, you know, give life to our strawberries and add a bit more whimsy to it. So this is how it's gonna work. There are 6 stitches in this white segment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is the sequence that we're gonna follow. So chain 1, and this is because I want to gain height for a single crochet. So single crochet, do not yarn over, you pull up a loop and pull through 2 loops, so that's your single crochet. And now we do a half double crochet. So it starts off like a double crochet, and then once you have 3 loops, you just pull through all of them. Now in the next stitch we're gonna do 1 double crochet. In the next stitch, the 4th stitch, we're gonna do, actually no, it's the 3rd stitch, we're gonna do 2 double crochets. In the next stitch, which is the 4th stitch, we're gonna do 2 double crochets, because now we're essentially mirroring what we did in the first half, or what we did in the first 3 stitches. So now we go into this 5th stitch and we do a double crochet. And in this last stitch over here, we first do a half double crochet and a single crochet. Now without any pause or any regard to the strawberry, we go into that next white segment and just do our usual antic, which is a single crochet and then a, oh my god, a half double crochet. Also, this yarn is just creeping up on me. I'm just gonna go cut it off. We're gonna do a single crochet, a half double crochet into the same stitch, and in the next stitch we do the casual double crochet. In the next one we do a double crochet increase. Now we essentially mirror what we've done, so a double crochet increase, 1 double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. We're gonna repeat it for repeat this for the whole row until we're done, and then I can tell you how to fasten off and how to weave your yarn strands in. So bye bye. Okay, so now that we're done, you have your final pieces, which is a coaster. I made 2 because I made 1 for a pattern practice and 1 for the tutorial, but I made 2. But you're gonna have a lot of ends, but I don't really care about these ends because these kind of just fizzle out. I usually take, I don't have any felt at hand, but I just take like a sheet of felt and paste my coasters, especially my coasters, like on it, and just cut around it. Once the glue dries, I use an overlocking stitch in the back loops, like over here, with like a needle and thread, and you know, just give life to the longevity of this coaster. I promise you that with this arrangement, this coaster is not going anywhere. Or, I mean, if you do lose it, you lose it, but it's not gonna unwind unopened. But if you want to let it remain that way, you know, soft and cute, what you can do is to not allow people to see the back. But these strands, like these very obviously long ones, you can just go into the back stitches or back posts or whatever, and you know, just weave it in with a darning needle. But that, so we're done. This is the whole coaster tutorial video. I hope that my explanation of the stitches and what we're gonna do for each round was easy to comprehend, because this is a pattern that I'm really excited for. This is one of the first few patterns that I thought of and made in one day, so it took a lot of work, but I do hope that you guys like it, and if you do finish yours in time, mention my Instagram so that I can check y'all out. Bye.